Hi everyone, it's Marianne from Happy Paper People, and today I just wanted to stop by quickly to share with you a game-changing tip, at least it was for me, in using scraps and making hidden paper clips. Hidden paper clips are easy and they're fast and they use up a lot of scraps, and there's a lot of different ways to do them. I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways to do them because it's so quick and easy and it uses substantially large pieces of scraps. And here's some that I made while I was sitting here. So I've been gathering up my scraps. I've been doing kind of a reorganization. Going to try a new system out. If it works well for me, then I will share it with you. I've adapted it from others that I watched how they were using it, and took it, made the changes that I felt would be right for me, and that's what I'm going to try. So these are some of the ones that I made while sitting here. But there's something about them that bugs me. Every time I make them, it bugs me. And I don't know if you can see it. If you look at the top, I can't get that top piece to lay flat on the bottom piece. On each of the top pieces, there's just, on one end, there's a little bit that sticks up. And I'll show you why. And maybe it shouldn't bug me, maybe it doesn't bug you, but it does bug me. And so, see how that sticks up? The basic premise of this hidden paper clip, super, super simple, is that you take a piece of paper. I typically will use like a cardstock. This is an easy one to see because that's the base and it makes it a little sturdier as you're putting it over your page. So I try to use a thicker paper or cardstock for the base. And then you slip, let's just make one. Take a piece of paper, we're going to fold it in half. That's a pretty wide one. We don't need it that wide. We can probably get 2 or 3 out of this one. So I'm going to say, okay, I'd like it to be about 1.75 inches. That's kind of a good width. So I'm just going to cut it off right there. All right, so here is the base of our paper clip. Well, then I take the paper clip itself and I slide it over the top. There we go. And then I need a piece of paper to put over the top of that. You can see I've got a base and then I've got a piece of paper over the top of that. Sometimes it's an angled scrap that got cut off funky, so I'll just use it that way. Sometimes it's a small one in the middle just to hide the paper clip, just to cover that. Sometimes it's a large one, a longer one, that almost completely covers that bottom piece. It can be anything you want, but my plan is just to cover that. So what if I flip this over and just use the opposite side, which is text, and I don't want to cover the entire thing. I want to just put it down the middle and leave some of the flowers around it. So I'm going to cut that one about 1 inch, and then I can put it like that. And now I could let it go all the way down, or I could cut it short. It doesn't have to be like this, doesn't have to be as long as that one. Either way, I think I'm going to round the corners. So I'm kind of just doing this to show you what I mean about what bugs me. Maybe it doesn't bug you. It's always bugged me. And as much as I've tried to work with it, I haven't been able to make that flat. So when I put this piece of paper on top and I glue that down, I can't get it all the way down because the paper clip is in the way. The paper clip is above the paper. So if I push this side down, that side sticks up. If I push this side down, that side sticks up. So I can try to bend it over both so both ends go down, but then there'll be a wrinkle down the middle because it's just not flat. So I was making these and playing with scraps and thinking, how can I make that flat? When the thought popped into my head, if I could just recess that a little bit, it wouldn't stick up above. So I grabbed this just generic old hole punch and I punched a 1/2 punch. Could be a 1/4 punch, it just doesn't need to be much. Just enough that that paper clip can go down below the level. And then when I put the second piece of paper on top of it, it can go flush with the paper on the top because there's no paper clip up sitting up to keep it up above. So this next batch, you can see how these are all flat. Now, when you use thicker paper, like this is thick paper that was made into handmade tickets. When you use a thicker paper, a cardstock, it's still a little more difficult because it's thicker. It doesn't fold as nicely and thinly. So if you use a cardstock on the bottom and then you use a regular scrapbook paper or a thinner paper over the top, it will lay more nicely. But you see how you can still get it nice and flush no matter what you're using on the top. Once you've got the paper clip out of the way. And these are all just bases that are ready to go, ready to decorate. It's super easy to batch make a whole bunch of these, and then you can go back and decorate them, or you can keep them like that, and then when you're ready to use them, decorate them for your particular project. So all I'm going to do then is punch a hole, half a hole, quarter of a hole, whatever it is, and then I'm going to glue this piece of paper on the top. So I have to ask, and I'm curious, I'd really like to hear in the comments, does that bug you when that little piece of paper sticks up higher? Does that bug you that you can't get that flush, or does it not? I'm sure it bugs some and not others, and I'm curious as to your thoughts on it. But it's just always been a little thorn in my side. So once I've got glue on that, I'm going to push the top down because I definitely want that to be flush. How cute. I got freckles right on the top there. And then I can bring the rest of it down. Once I know that that top is secured there, then I'll glue the rest of it. And the rest of it you kind of have to form over the top of the paper clip. Even if it's a small paper clip, if it's small paper, if you use a longer paper clip, then you have more to work with on your page. You can use small paper clips though, and on minis or teeny weeny tinies for small books, I will use the little tiny paper clips. Didn't get that very straight. It's probably already secure. Too late. That's okay because you can correct it just by decorating it and covering it. So if it's not very straight, that's what I get for trying to do it in a hurry. Trying to just whip that out because that's not the most important part. The important part was figuring out that I could make a tiny little hole there and push the paper clip down in it and have it perfectly flat over the top. So now I can batch make just tons of these, all different sizes, all different colors, based on whatever scraps I have sitting around. All I have to do, you just fold it in half, punch a half of a hole or a quarter of a hole, stick your paper clip in, let it go down into the hole, then choose what you're going to put over the top of it. Let's see, how about the other side of this one? Choose what you're going to put over the top, and I'm going to do that at an angle because at an angle I can get a piece that's long enough. That. And like that. Get that piece to go right down the middle with the flowers. And I can cut that off anywhere I want right there. Okay, that's got a groove. And actually, I'm not going to worry about that because if I'm going to decorate this, I do want some flowers, so if I'm going to decorate this, then that's not going to show. So just a little groove cut out. The circle, there were circles cut out of that piece, and I just threw the scraps into the scrap container. So, all right, so that's how you do it. Just glue that down there. And you can batch make all kinds of sizes, shapes, colors, ready to go. And then what I did was gather up all the little bits and pieces on my desk of everything that was sitting around here, and then tried to use only bits and pieces that were sitting here to decorate these. That's why they're all so very different, because of the variety of things that were sitting around. But isn't that super easy? And what a difference it makes to me to not have that little gap and that little bit sitting up there. So let me know in the comments if that bothers you or if it doesn't bother you, and if you have another option as to how to get around that and make that knot sit up like that. Always love to learn new techniques. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.